I work with companies that want to double their business in less in
Okay.
1 year or 1 year or less. So it doesn't matter if I'm working with solopreneurs, speakers, authors, coaches, consultants, people who have medium-sized businesses, going in and speaking in corporations to 10,000 salespeople, like in South America with Stephen Covey, but who's bragging? Um, it's always the same thing. I get paid
Okay.
to, I work with companies that want to double their business in less than a year, and that's what I'm famous for doing, semi-famous for doing.
Okay.
Yeah, and so I do that. I just have a variety of really interesting and unique ways of getting people able to do that. So yeah, like writing
Okay.
books
Excellent.
or doing podcasts or creating membership sites. Like I made, I have two of my clients that made more than $4 million last year because I told them to do a membership site and I got them a team to do it. So,
Amazing.
mhm.
Okay. Okay. Yeah.
So
Okay.
yeah, so I just have really interesting ways of looking at a company and figuring out who can do what, and then helping them double that entire business. Just as,
Okay.
which is what got me here because I took this company from 75 million to 156 million, and then she said I want to double again, and now I'm helping her go from 156 to 300 million, dear Lord. And it's going really well. I was very nervous about this one, and it's going really well. So
Oh, can you tell us about how that's happening?
how that's happening, a lot of what I did to get them from 75 million to 156 million, I don't know if I've already told you this story, but the way that I did that was, well, it's kind of funny. She's I was speaking at this conference, and there's about 1,000 entrepreneurs, and they're all well under a million. Many of them, you're lucky to be at 100,000. And this woman walks up to me and she says, "Oh, I'd love to have coffee with you. Are you free after this?" And I signed her book, and she was just lovely, statuesque, beautiful woman. Um, British accent, just gorgeous. And she said, I really want to talk to you. I said, "Oh, great, great. Whatever you want to talk about." I said, "She just had great energy. And I just want to know this person. I want to be her friend." So we sit down and have a cup. I have tea and she has tea. And we talk about how we're the only people there that drink tea. And she says, "I really want to double my business. And I think you're the one to help me." And I said, "Great. Now, how big is your business?" And I'm thinking 100,000, 500,000, maybe a million too. And she says,
Mm-hmm.
75 million. And I go, okay. I just wasn't expecting that number to come out of her face.
Yeah.
And I said, "Okay, all right, I'll be a good consultant over here." And I said, "Well, I bet you know where you're leaving money on the table, don't you?" And she said, "I think you're probably right, I do." And I said, "Well, what would you have to do to be able to double if I didn't exist and you had to do it yourself?"
Mm-hmm.
And she said, "Oh, well, we'd have to get into Coke, Pepsi, and Quaker." And I said, "Well, why don't you just do that? You just saved yourself a consulting fee." Ta-da! She said, "No, no, no, you don't understand. I'm waiting for her to Velcro her wrist or her forehead. No, it's so
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
difficult." I said,
It's so
"Really? What?
complicated. It's
So
so hard.
complicated,
Yeah.
so hard. You don't understand. Everybody, every industry, every person in every industry. Our industry is different. It's much more difficult than others. I know, so difficult." I make jokes about it to her now, and she has a good self-deprecating sense of humor. And she said,
Well, well, we're human beings. We've heard it in ourselves at some
"Well, we
point.
hear it
My
exactly."
my laugh is a laugh of familiarity, right? Like,
I do the same thing. I mean, I just we all do. We realize we hear ourselves saying those things, and then we think that doesn't even make any sense. So I said, "All right, so what? Tell me about that." She goes, "No, no, no. It's impossible. We've been trying for 15 years. It'll never happen. La 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 la. They don't want us little small companies." I'm like, "Uh-huh, uh-huh, uh-huh.
Mhm.
Okay, are we done yet? Anything else you want to share? I'm just wondering." "No, no, no, that's it." And I said, "Well, what have you done so far?" And it mainly entailed things like tell them how great we are, have a campaign to tell them how great we are. And I said, "How's that working for you?"
Mhm.
And she said, "Not well." And I said, "Okay, so what if we reverse all that, figure out what they actually want, find a way to get you connected in there, and see what, if we could open the door and then the salespeople could get in, what could happen?" She went, "Huh." So I work with all the salespeople. I work with her, work with all their VPs, even worked with all the technical people. And then in about 8 months, we got into Coke. And Yeah, I say we. It's her company, but still we. And
Yeah, yeah.
then at about Go Team, and then about a year, right around a year and a half, we get into um, Quaker. No, it was Coke and Pepsi, and then it was about 2.25 years we get into Quaker. And I had said to her when we had this conversation, "Hey, I always say double your business in 1 year or less, but what you want to do is more difficult. I don't know if we can do it in a year. We'll be lucky to do it in 5." And she said, "If we do it in 5, I'll be thrilled." But we did it in about 2.25, and she was over the moon, ecstatic.
Nice.
So was I. Party, absolutely fabulous. And we got
Nice.
into all three. So I think my work here is done. I will just go on to the next adventure. Bye. And
Yeah,
I get
yeah. I set an expectation for 5. We did it in under two and a
did
half.
2.5. I was, yeah, I'm feeling very cool about myself.
Yeah.
Bye bye. And then I get a call and she says, "Okay, we have to go to lunch. We have to go to lunch. Why are we going? What's wrong? Where are we going to lunch?" And then so we sit down at lunch, and over our lobster salad, she said, "I want to do it again." She goes, "Okay, I want to double." And I said, "Great. Okay, well, what do you think it's going to take to do that?" She said, "I don't know. That's why we're having this conversation." And so we had this great conversation about what would be possible. And a lot of it came down to making her uh, really a celebrity in the industry, because they are a
Mm,
small company and it's unusual to have a woman in a manufacturing space. So, how do we make her really famous in that pond, in that space? And
mhm.
so we found some great ways for her to be doing summits and be on other people's podcasts and podcasts and things that related to the industry. And now she's speaking at all the industry events, then having and then now she's got a podcast specifically for the industry, and she's writing a book which gives her license to interview people that are slightly larger companies that she would like to be working with and would like to let her salespeople wander in and chat
Uh-huh.
with. And so all of that together, it means that we're really progressing towards the 300 million mark. And then she said,
Amazing.
I need to I need to buy factories. I need you to come and help train my people, work with me. And the next thing I knew, I was doing things that I had no idea I would ever be asked to do, and found out that it just makes a big difference, having a team in place. And then we really worked hard to get her dream team at the
Yeah.
top level. She had some great people. She needed some more, obviously, to grow, and we've gotten her some just exceptional people. So, yes, and we're well on our way to 300 million. And I get to be here in England, and then I was in Mexico, and here in England, I'm going to be in Ireland,
Yes.
Canada, and other parts of Europe. So, yeah,
It's
I'm just really
it's an amazing story, Sarah, and highlights what you do so well. I mean, you just have a wisdom about what is going to play in the marketplace,
yeah.
right? And
Thank you.
lifting people up and into their power. And of course, you use the word "we" because you get invested, right? And you care and you are on the journey with your clients,
Obsessed is more like. Somebody asked me
which is
why.
lovely.
Somebody asked me why I only take 12 clients a year. And I said it's because I'm up at 3 o'clock in the morning thinking up ideas for every single one of them, and any more than that, and I never ever sleep. My favorite thing that's been said about me is what my husband always says, which is, "Do not tell Sarah what you want, because she will not sleep, and neither will you until you get it."
Yeah. Yes. Yes.
I just
Because
have
it's
this passion.
possible.
Whatever,
Yeah.
once I can see it in my head, I have to find it. It's a puzzle. I have to find a way to make it happen. And I obsessively go after making that happen for people that I fall in love with as I work with them. And it's like the greatest privilege in the world to work with people that I adore and that do
Yeah.
extraordinary things like you. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. It's amazing when you can
People changing the world.
carve out the work that you love the most. I want to come back to this idea of celebrity that you brought up.
Mhm.
You know that one of the courage of a leader pillars is the courage to be
Well,
authentically you.
really
And I
important.
think one of the pieces of your work that is so critical and foundational and enables your clients to double their business and do what they want to do is having
In
them.
less than a year, preferably.
Yeah. Oh, let me not forget that part. In less than a year,
Report, yeah, preferably, yeah.
you help them authentically step into their style, their strengths, their gifts,
Hmm.
while
Hmm.
also having your eye on how does this person be a celebrity, right? Like what's going to play in the marketplace? What's
Right,
going to attract clients in? How do you
right.
help your clients do that work and balance that?
Well, I think there's two things that make the magic happen for people. One is what you talk about in your Courage of a Leader book, which you know I adore, and that is that finding that authenticity, which is often used, but I think many people don't really understand what that means. I
Yeah.
mean, it's finding the parts of yourself that are the most extraordinary. Where is your zone of genius that you may not even realize is incredibly powerful? So
Mm.
what I look for is, what is it in this person that is exceptional, extraordinary? What is it in this company that I'm connected to that is extraordinary and exceptional and interesting? And rather than saying, oh, these things don't work and those things don't work, I try to figure out what really is working, exploit the heck out of that, and then shore up those other things later, because sometimes they just fall away as they become more and more exceptional in that one lane that they have. So
Nice.
I feel like this talent scout looking for
Mm.
who this individual that needs to be a celebrity in order for their company to really, really take off at a whole new level. What is it about them that could be exploited so that the entire company behind them could walk through doors that they open? And
Mm.
then once you know what's really exceptional about that person that other people would be attracted to, then you have to say, who is it that really wants that desperately? And I don't mean would be like, it'd be nice or that'd be okay. I mean, they get up every day saying, I need whatever this company does. And how do I reframe what this company does so that the people in their market get up every day and say, I need this, and start to hear there's somebody or some company or some product and I mainly work with people that sell services typically, that, so there are some group of people who can make that dream a reality. What is it that they stand for? What
Yeah.
is it they can deliver that is exceptional? And how can we put a frame around that that makes it extremely obvious to the people in that arena
Mm.
that that thing they wake up every day desperate for is in that frame over here. And so once this is what they're passionate about, this is what these people desperately want, you put those things together, and then right in the middle, that's the magic. That's
Hmm.
when their business starts to expand so extraordinarily fast that we have to make sure we put systems and processes and things and leadership skills and things that you're really good at in behind it, so they can grow and not crash. Because
Build so that, yeah, so that they're
you can build,
ready.
you can build, as Linda McCabe always says, there's two problems in business: not enough business and too much business. So I now realize I have to be careful. Once I solve the one problem of let's double your business in less than, in 1 year or less, let's also make sure that as you're doing that, the infrastructure continues on. So I have partners that come in and make sure that the whole system is working for more profitability and sustainability and sanity and joy, so that it's a great place to work and it's a culture beyond measure.
Nice.
Yeah, so that's what I
Nice.
do.
I love the phrase zone of genius and would love to underscore that every leader out there listening, you have a zone of genius. Sometimes it's
Yeah,
not obvious to
I've never
us,
met one who didn't. Yeah.
right? Because
Hmm.
it comes naturally, it's innate. We just feel like everybody thinks and operates in that way, and we don't
So true.
realize that it is a distinctive gift.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And I think we've been trained, especially in school, to think that things that um, that they think should matter don't actually matter. We were trained to think that being good at managing your time, or being good at remembering details, or things that we now have. A phone can Google whatever it is you need
Yeah.
now. A lot of those
Yeah.
things that we were all trained coming up in school, and I hope things are changing, but that those things are super important. And what you discover is that accomplishment is so important, and
Mm,
character is so important,
mm,
and leadership is so important, and charisma sometimes is important, or just caring can be really important. And so it's funny that we get it in our heads that the things that we just do naturally and easily and effortlessly that could make us a star, a
yeah,
celebrity, a thought leader, the things that
yeah.
we have inside of us that everybody has access to, but they just don't see because fish don't see water. Like, what's all this wet stuff around us? We just
Yeah.
don't see it. And we need somebody from the outside. You may see it in your team members, you may see it in other people, but you can't see it for yourself. You need somebody like you or like me to be able to come in and see what those extraordinary gifts are, what that zone of genius is for you and for every
Mm-hmm.
member of your team, so that you
Mm-hmm.
can exploit those things to the max for a group of people that you truly, truly would like to serve.
Yeah.
And that's where it starts to really get exciting.
Yeah. And I think it's so powerful how you help your clients define and clarify who desperately needs
Right.
this zone of genius that you have, and how
Mhm.
can you speak their language, right? Because
Yes.
we speak our
Yes.
language,
Yes.
right?
But we all, yes. And we
And
all love to talk about, the process of how we do something or make something or how make something happen and how fascinating it is. And we are the only ones who think that. The rest of the world is all driven by what is the biggest benefit in it for me. And again, do I wake up every morning saying, geez, I would walk across glass in the snow in the middle of a Chicago winter to be able to get X. And if you can provide X, you're doing great. And what some people say is, well, I'm not giving out million dollar bills, but you may be giving out something that is equally important to a market or to multiple markets that you're not really thinking about without putting, if you put more effort into it, you can find that's where that sweet spot, where that magic moment is
mm-hmm.
of your zone of genius, your company's zone of genius, and a market that really desperately wants it and needs it. But you
Mm-hmm.
can't just say, survey a few of your clients and say, hey, what do you want? Because they're not going to necessarily tell you the first time out. You have to put so much effort into continuing to have a human connection to the people that you serve and finding out what they need right now. I mean,
Yes,
if COVID had taught us nothing, it has taught us that people need different things at different times. I mean, who would have thought
please.
that,
Yeah.
toilet paper and hand sanitizer would be the most sexy, exciting items you could possibly have in your store?
Yes.
So, it's
Yes. Plexiglass everywhere. Yeah.
yeah, how do you make sure that you are incredibly relevant to what people want and need right now? Because we really buy what we want. We don't really
Yeah.
buy what we need. If we bought what we need, we would all be, my fridge would be stocked with nothing but broccoli. We
Right.
buy what we want.
Yes. Yes.
So what do
Yes.
people want the most? Not what do they need? You have to push a rock uphill to convince them they
Mm-hmm.
really should want this. What do they actually want? And then how do
Yeah.
you get that information? I have
Uh-huh.
one of my favorite clients is a former CEO and a former COO of two Fortune 500 companies, and he said that at one of them he started in pretty high level marketing with them, and they were trying to figure out why people in New York City buy uh, Land Rovers, I believe it was, those
Oh,
big behemoth fancy cars,
yeah.
very, very expensive fancy cars. And he said, so they surveyed all of the people, right? So that you send in a survey, you think this will work. I'll find out what they want. I'll just survey them. It's quicker, it's more efficient, it's easier, right? Sure
Yeah.
thing. So they send out this survey and they say, why did you buy the Land Rover?
Yeah.
And what they came back with was for middle of New York City, mind you,
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. All those
for off
expansive roads in
right,
Manhattan.
big fancy,
Yeah.
right, exactly. Yeah, exactly. Big fancy buildings, yeah, no expensive roads whatsoever. Yeah, off-roading,
Okay.
off-roading.
They were going to
So
go do
he's
that. Yeah.
right, yeah, right in the middle of Manhattan, because as
Mm-hmm.
one does, go off-roading. I don't know, would you go to Central Park to go off? There's no place you could possibly go off-roading.
Yeah.
And he wait. They are consciously or unconsciously lying to you. No, They wouldn't do that. Yes. Well, why did they really buy this thing? Not because they wanted to go off-roading. They gave the answer that they thought sounded cool. The
Mm-hmm.
truth was they wanted to look cool. They wanted something fancy and impressive. So what he discovered from that was that, and it's in his forthcoming book, which is called The True Titans, coming out next year, that I'm helping him work on and write.
Oh, excellent.
Um, but he discovered something really important, which is, he says, customers lie. We all lie, consciously or unconsciously.
Yeah.
Maybe we're not. Isn't even always
It's
necessarily
not
conscious.
malicious. Yeah.
No, no, not at all, not at all. And to save face, or to preserve our dignity, or to feel cool, and who doesn't want all those things? Nothing wrong with that.
Yeah.
However, what that means is they had to actually talk to people and survey
Mm.
what was the impetus, what made you want to buy it, why would you make such an investment? They had to actually talk to real human beings, not just send out a survey and have them click on three or four options. They
Yeah.
really had to dig deeper to find out what people want, what they really truly want the most
Yeah.
and would pay for. Because
Yeah.
the kiss of death is always when I get people who say, everybody tells me that the book I'm writing is really important, or the speech I'm going to do is really, or the TED talk I want to do is really important. And I say, that's lovely. Has any single one of them said, and I would love to hire you as a consultant to help me do that important thing? And they say, no, no, it's somebody else.
Mhm.
If it's important and somebody else should pay you, you are in trouble. I mean, the absolute truth is that we should, I mean, we value things, especially in the United States and here in England as well. As you know, I'm on this project. We value things in ways that are sometimes crazy. I mean, we should
Yeah.
value teachers the way that we
Mm.
value top football
Yeah.
stars here, or as they call football here, or American
Yeah.
football
Yeah.
in the U.S., or movie stars. We should pay teachers that way, do we? No.
No.
So
No.
you can't make people value things they don't actually value. You just can't. I wish we could, but
Yeah.
that's not how it works. So
So
my job is to figure out what people actually want, and I have a weird
yeah,
sixth sense for such things.
you
And then
do.
also figure out, what does this company or this leader or this potential thought leader or this actual thought leader, what do they have that would be extraordinarily valuable to a particular market?
So, Sarah, as I'm listening to you talk about the importance of the human connection and finding out what do our customers, potential customers, actually want, the phrase slow down to speed up is popping into my head, right?
I
Because I mean,
think
you're
that's
talking about
good.
doubling your business in a year. So that
Right,
sounds like get into action, make
right,
transactions, sell stuff tomorrow. But I'm
right.
hearing there's some slow down to this. There's have that human connection, spend the
Mhm,
time with the people you most want to serve, find
mhm.
out what really makes them tick, what really
Right.
is going on, so you can deliver and provide what they really want. So a bit of a slow down, find out what this winning formula really is, then go and make it happen. Is
And then
that
things take off. It's absolutely accurate. Absolutely dead accurate. It's almost like when you take a spring, a coil, and you squish it down and squish it down and squish it down, and that seems like counterintuitive. Why am I pushing something down to make it go higher? But when you do that, all of a
mm,
sudden you have this compacted powerhouse of a thing that can go so high so fast. And most people never slow down long enough, as you just pointed out, to be able to make that happen. And then they just feel like a hamster on a wheel, to
mhm,
mix metaphors a little bit. Yeah.
excellent.
You also have to believe it's feasible. I have a company that I'm working with right
Mm,
now. They're, I want to say about 8 million right now, almost 10, and they want to double in the next year. Thus, I have a job, right?
mhm,
And so I was working with the guy yesterday, and he said, "Well, he's writing this fantastic book, really interesting, high tech, cutting edge stuff, really, really fascinating." And he said, "Well, I want to make sure that I tell people in this book that they're doing this wrong and they're doing that wrong, and they really should." And I said,
Whew.
Who do you work? What clients are you? I said, we have a fundamental issue here. You, you, you don't believe that the people who are going to read this book are going to listen to what you say and do what you say. What's wrong with the clients that you have that you're starting to have that belief in your head? And I could see it was like, oh my gosh, wait a minute. And I think we all do that. You know, we get one or
Yeah.
two dud, you know, they have these huge clients. We get one or two dud clients, and then we do a decent job for them. They give us a few more with the same awful personality, who give us a few more with the same awful personality. And suddenly you have a whole clan of people that you and your team are maybe not excited to run out and get more of, because you
Yeah.
haven't stopped, as you pointed out, slowed down to speed up, which is a great way of putting it. You haven't done that, pushing the coil down enough to find out, who are you really going after? Who do you really want? 300 million people, you know, ish, just in the US alone. You can't tell me you can't find, you know, 50 or 100 or
Hmm.
500 that aren't going to be so excited to work with you and your company that you
Yeah.
don't have to spend all your time convincing them and watching them not do what you tell them to do. And, you know, it's like, don't work with jerks. You want to make sure that you are cloning your favorite clients,
Yes.
not your least favorite clients, and
Yes.
they're out there. But what happens is you just ride the horse the way it's going rather than
Yeah.
guiding in any particular direction that might be getting you what you really want, which is a vibrant, exciting client that gives you a, you know, that gets your team thrilled to be working with them. And
Yes.
if you're talking to enough people, then you can pick and choose the cream, the creme de la creme, you know, the
Love
cream
it.
of the crop, and you're
Yes.
not having to settle for a client that's basically, let's face it, a dud.
I am so glad that you brought up belief, right? That we need to believe it's possible, right?
Mhm.
And that you can help a client see that, you know, this individual you're talking about, you know, all the evidence is showing that the clients I get to work with operate in these ways. But
Mhm.
stepping
In the
into,
negative. Yeah.
yeah, stepping into that belief
Perhaps.
that my ideal client is out there. I think that leadership, powerful leadership, has so much more to do with our belief work than it does with our behavior work.
Probably
Peter
true.
Drucker has that famous saying that culture eats strategy for breakfast. I want to make famous, and so feel free to quote me, everyone. Belief eats behavior for breakfast,
Breakfast.
and you
So true.
help
So true.
your clients believe. Yeah,
I think I
and
do.
believe what's possible. Believe the new way. Everyone, we have been talking with Sarah Victory today. She is an amazing person. That's what you need to know about her first and foremost. Sarah Victory is also the author of numerous best-selling books and audio programs, including Double Your Business in 1 Year. Oh, sorry, Double Your Business in 1 year or less.
Oh yeah.
Do Something Brave Every Day, and How to Be Powerful. Sarah has addressed over 2,000 distinguished audiences in Europe, in the US, and in South America. Her clients include Avon, Ford, Redken, Farmers, Arbonne, and IBM, just to name a few. And you have seen her influential clients make dozens of appearances on Oprah, The Today Show, The Tonight Show, and CNN. So glad that you are with us today, Sarah.
No, I'm honored to be with you, Amy. You're one of my favorite human beings on the entire planet, and you're doing such great work in changing the world in really profound ways. And I don't say that lightly. So it's an honor to be with you.
Ah, ditto. I
Thank
feel
you.
the same. So we've been talking about how leaders, how businesses double their business, their impact in 1 year or less. We've been
Mhm.
talking about the importance of connecting, slowing down and connecting with clients and the people that you want to serve. We've also been talking about once the business starts growing, you need to have that infrastructure in place. So there's so much that a leader, a business going for it could be focusing on.
Mhm.
How do you help them prioritize, decide what's next, keep their focus in the most effective places?
I think that is one of the toughest things for most leaders is to say, there are a million things I could do. There are a million things that my team could be doing. What is it that we really focus in on? And that is very, very challenging. And I find the easiest way to do that is to say, where do you want to go? And then
Mm.
let's backtrack to that. It's really, really simple. So if it, again, if it's, let's say if we could do magic and sprinkle fairy dust over your head, where would this company be? Where would you be? What impact would you have? What would be the absolute ideal client from a demographic standpoint and from a psychographic standpoint? What is the emotional state, or what kind of people do you want to do business with? And it's not, yeah, it's got to be something where you think, oh my gosh, we have the greatest clients in the world. I can't wait to serve them. I want to go on vacation with every single one of them. So once you have all of that established and you say, okay, 5 years from now, we want maybe 100 more of these. Let's say a consulting firm might want to have 100. Or 1,000 or 10,000, doesn't really matter, but you pick a number, and this is what they're going to be like. For me, a lot of our values at the company are kindness and appreciation, which sound very, warm and fuzzy, and yet I really find that the kinder you are to other people, the more you appreciate other people, the more they are dying to give you referrals and more business. And it's not, they're not so likely to pick the cheapest when they can have people that they really enjoy spending time with. Kind of reminds me of, we had to pick a driver who's going to drive us across the UK, because Steve and I both are trying to avoid driving on the wrong side of the road. And you're right, two different guys applied to drive us all this way, 5 hours across the country. And one of them was very transactional. It was like, we could do this, we could do this, we could do this. And he obviously didn't have a lot of time. Boom, 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 boom. And the other guy took time to find out about me, happens to like dogs. We have a little white fluffy dog who travels with us. And, the one guy was like, yeah, dog, whatever. And he wanted, what kind is she? Where did you rescue her from? How long have you had her? I mean, it took the guy 5 whole extra minutes, but he seemed like the kind of person that I thought, I would love to spend time with this guy. And he was so appreciative of the fact that we had took an interest in wanting to choose his company. What else could he do to help us? And was there anything else we were looking for while we were in the area? And could he take us various places? Well, now he's driving us, from here to there and down to London and up and over and across. And
It sounds like he's read one or more of your books.
This guy could write one or more of my books and probably do a better job. He's fantastic. So, but what it occurred to me was, I wanted to spend more time with this guy because he seemed to he was kind. He seemed to care about me. And so ultimately, he's much more expensive, much more expensive.
Okay.
And I am more than happy to pay a premium to get the really great guy.
Yeah.
But most people do not take the time to figure out what is their North Star for their company. What do they stand for? What is their North Star for themselves? And then what are they aiming for in terms of the perfect clients, not just any clients? So that because you then bypass the no one is out there who could possibly buy from me, it's just not worth trying. And you're not trying to squeeze the same 5 annoying people into buying from you and convince and convince and convince. When it's a great love match, what happens is they can't wait to help you, get more business, and they want to work with you, and you can't wait to work with them and do everything in your power to be able to help them get to whatever their best destiny is, or whatever it is that they want. So
exactly. Once you know what that is, then you don't have to appear to care. You actually care because it's coming from your zone of genius and passion, right? And you've found your love match.
Absolutely. One of my clients said to me the other day, we were talking about this, and he said, what I really am passionate about is I love to reduce friction. I want to see zero friction in a company. Big consultant, big, fabulous firm. He said, I want all of our, he said, I'm obsessed with it. And everybody on his team is the same way. And they want to take a company and they want to have technology ways to have zero friction, people ways to have zero. It's all about, he said, that's what I'm passionate. I said, well, why don't we have you guys doing way more of that? That sounds
Yeah,
really powerful. I think that
that's
I said, well,
intriguing.
right, that's the tricky. And I said, well, what happens when you do that? Because that's a process, which is nice. And
Hmm.
he said, well, I take companies, from a $200 million company to $1 billion company when I do that. And I went, and why aren't we selling that?
Yeah.
That sounds really valuable. And that's going in the subtitle of his book. So
Oh,
yeah,
of
so
course.
it's yeah, of course it is. Yeah. But he never stopped to think, what is it that I'm doing that again would have great value, that he's passionate about, that they're passionate about, that would have great value to somebody who is sitting around saying, wow, I'd really like to take this $200 million company to $1 billion company. Wonder what tech solutions there are to do that. I wonder what people solutions.
Yeah.
I wonder how we can get, how can we have a zero friction company that also goes to a billion? Oh, who doesn't? That sounds fantastic, right? So yeah.
Uh, yeah, Sarah, I've enjoyed spending the time with you today. Thank you for your
Mhm.
time. I love that you help your clients get clear on how they can impact the world, and then create those love matches. You brought so many important concepts um, to us today. The zone of genius. I love that phrase. We all
Mhm.
have one.
Mhm.
Find your love match. I love that phrase. We can talk about love in business, right? Find
Yeah.
that ideal match between your zone of genius and those who desperately want what you need. Slow down to have that human connection with those people that you want to work with, and believe it's possible.
Absolutely.
Great
Brilliant.
insights.
Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Um,
I love what you've added to what I said. Thank you. Yeah. Yeah. I
Thank
mean, I really
you.
think
Thank you.
I think I really believe what we say at our company, which is you need to double your business, you need to double your impact, and you need to at least aim for changing the world.
Yeah.
Double your business, double your impact, change the world.
And we all can,
That's
because we've got
and
our
we all can.
zone
Everyone
of
has a
genius.
capacity.
Yeah,
And go and yeah, use your zone of genius to get there. Mhm.
I love it. Thank you, Sarah.
Thank you so much, Amy. Always a delight to see you. An honor. Thank you.